So Alyssa is proceeding with a lawsuit, and we need to catch up with the situation because there's some additional info and insight that I might not have fully disclosed in the video that I made earlier about the situation. So I want to make sure I got that out to you guys here. So we're going to do that right now. Let me bring it up. All right. So many of you probably already saw this article I posted onto. Oh man, look at those advertisements. Smash JT, huh? Damn. So I posted this. Smash JT files motion to dismiss Alyssa Mercante's frivolous lawsuit. And my attorney, Ron Coleman, files motion to dismiss Alyssa Mercante defamation lawsuit, citing failure to state a claim. Now, that's not necessarily true after further research and understanding of what's going on. And again, bear with me here, guys. I'm not a lawyer, nor do I pretend to be one. But as far as what I understand is transpiring right now, how this happens, and I kind of briefly touched on it in Saturday Night Hypnosis, but when there's a lawsuit that gets pushed out there and a judge gets assigned, each judge has their own kind of local rules that they have for the lawyers as far as what their expectations are, how they want things presented to them, and all that kind of stuff. So as far as I understand, this judge, and maybe it's for everyone, I don't know, but this judge specifically wants a preliminary, like, okay, so we have the 54 pages or whatever document from the lawsuit. This judge would like a preliminary understanding of like what we are thinking about the situation, what our defense is, just so they understand, our side of the story. And Ron put this 3-page letter together that we're going to go over here. And this 3-page letter is basically, hey, judge, we think this lawsuit is garbage and we need it to be tossed in the trash. And here's what we plan on presenting to you when it comes to the point of being able to make a request. So this is like the preliminary, hey, heads up, this is the request we're going to be making to you, but we just want to let you know this is the direction we're headed with this case. It wasn't a motion to dismiss as much as it was telling the judge, we will be filing a motion to dismiss. So it's like it's the statement before the actual statement, but it's basically one and the same. Like nothing's going to change. It's just like, this is our situation. So from this, what I understand is now the other side, Alyssa's lawyers can read it and be like, oh, they want to dismiss this because of X, Y, and Z. They feel like this is a joke. They feel like there's no legal grounds for anything that we're accusing here. We need to file a motion for adjustment or whatever. I don't know what the terminology is, but basically they can come back to the judge and say, what we wrote in that lawsuit wasn't really what we meant because maybe the other side's misunderstanding it. Here's really what we're suing over. And then they can go back to the judge with, hey, so we saw that they're trying to get it dismissed. So we're going to come back with, hey, this is actually what we're suing for. And it doesn't align with what they're trying to get it dismissed for. So you need to move forward with this case. So then the next step is to basically move forward with what we decide to do, which is file a motion for dismissal, no matter what the other side comes back with. That's basically, in my understanding, in my assumption, what we're going to be doing. But I can't state with any kind of definite motion here without talking to Ron and understanding the full picture of it. But that's basically what I understand of what the current situation is with this. And just a quick recap. This is the lawsuit, and many of you already know about it, but we filed a response when they did the C&D. We're like, yeah, no, we're not listening to any of that. So then they came back with the lawsuit. And the lawsuit was demanding $75,000 from me in damages, I guess, and emotional damages. I don't know. I read through it multiple times and I really could not understand what exactly she's expecting money out of this for, besides just she feels like her feelings got hurt because she said things publicly and people used those things she said against her. And apparently it's only okay for her to say those things, which I'm sure she's going to change and move the goalposts because that's what always happens with this kind of stuff. And now it's going to be something else, but it is what it is. So this was the first page of the letter. And Ron Coleman addressed it to Judge Brody, talking about what's lacking in this, why it makes no sense. I'm in California, she's in New York, so it doesn't even matter. The internet doesn't mean you have all jurisdiction for everything. It's already been established that you cannot sue someone successfully for something on the internet when you're in a different state. So this would also be trying to create a new law for being able to sue people over the internet in different states, which would be wild enough in itself. Hypnotic played this without any context on his stream, but this was a clip I took with my phone because I couldn't record it fast enough, and she didn't have her stream on replay, so I couldn't rewind it. But this is a clip of her, and it's really quiet. You got to turn it way up, but it's basically amounting to her saying she's going to be, the whole point of her streaming is to be able to build a case against me, and that's why she's doing it.
Obviously, streaming during the week is a good plan because they're working, they're sitting at their desk, maybe they want to listen to you talk about,
I can't even hear it. I genuinely can't even hear it. You gotta blare your speakers. Her audio, Alyssa, fix your goddamn audio, please. It's so low on everything you do. It's brutal. Jurisdictional issues highlighted. He talked about more about the specifics of where I was. Failure to state a claim, saying that in all 54 or 56 pages, I can't remember, they go through the entire thing and there's not really a claim. It's just hey, here's all this information and he's a big meanie, so we want to be paid money for that. And that's not grounds for suing someone. Sure, you can do it, but there's nothing in there tangibly that has any kind of established precedent legally. As much as they quote and pull references for other cases that have ruled in favor, my understanding is what they've pulled from don't really connect to what they're trying to say is what's happening here, of course. In my humble opinion, it's very shady lawyers trying to push something through for obviously their own benefit. And the third page is where it really gets gangbuster, where he says, in any event, plaintiff's own online content establishes that as a matter of law, she cannot establish either that the characterization of her as a whore, that is, a woman who has multiple sexual partners or is sexually promiscuous, was either damaging to her reputation or even false. So this is twofold here, which is such a banger, where Ron's just first off, she's saying she's suffering damages from being called a whore. And Ron's well, first off, how can it damage her reputation when she says these things about herself? And two, how can you even prove it's false if she's the one saying these things about herself? So it's kind of twofold. The basis of the argument would be me saying something about myself and telling you something about my private life and just saying it publicly, and then having someone use that and say it back to me in maybe a mean way, and me being no, you can't say that back to me. Only I can say that out to you. When you say it back to me, that hurts my feelings, and I am now emotionally distressed. And I'm I can't help you. If you're emotionally distressed from that, you're going to have a bad time on this planet, because it's kind of how life works. It's not something you can sue over. Again, I keep going back to, you can sue all you want. And there's a lot of people that seem to, not a lot of people, but there are people in Alyssa's camp that are cheering her on and assuming the lawsuit is the equivalent of winning. I'm like, no, it's just a lawsuit. That would be the same thing as if I sued her, that somehow that would mean that I won. It's like, no, it's just a lawsuit. You can sue anyone for anything at any time. At least throw a lawsuit at it. But that doesn't mean you have grounds for it. And this is one of those cases where, I'll be honest, before I talked to Ron, like I was confident that there was nothing really tangible, but I didn't know. I don't live in this legal world. But before I got Ron as my lawyer, I was really afraid. I got the C&D. I didn't know what to do. I froze up for like 15, 20 days on it. I didn't know what to do. And I was just going to ignore it. But I decided, no, you know what? I need to take a stand here. I need to fight back, because if I don't take a stand, she's going to plow right through me and then move on to the next target. And this is something she saw me as an easy pushover. And I realized that right away. Well, after 20 days, after thinking about it for a while, I realized that was the end goal with this. And once I realized that, I'm like, okay, I didn't want this responsibility. I never asked for it. But sometimes in this life, things will happen to you that you don't ever expect to just be dropped on you. And I think something that is very telling of the character of a person is how they respond to things that get dropped on you. And I feel like this is an opportunity for me to show my character and prove to the world. I mean, hell, I've been doing YouTube for 8+ years now. And I know how hard it is to get recognized, get attention, get noticed. I poured a lot of work into this. I try really hard to be very accurate. I'm not perfect, as you guys know, but I try my best. I know I'm still human at the end of the day. So I use this as a situation of, I can use this as a way to prove myself, not just to the community, but to me. Like, this is like a moment for me to prove to myself that I have this in me. And from that perspective, it's kind of like, I don't know, empowering and exciting to think, hey, I've been granted this opportunity. Don't fuck it up. So I want to do it as best as I could. And that's why when I reached out to Ron, my experience with Ron Coleman was ironically covering the Black Girl Gamers C&D that was sent to that Park Place. And when I did my initial research on this guy, you guys know me, like I do my research, and I deep dived on Ron. I did finding out who he was, the cases he worked for, what his law firm had focused on, that kind of stuff. And even in my articles on it back then, you can see all the videos and everything that I clipped from him. I was like, damn, this guy's fucking good. Like, he's really, really good. And I was almost like kind of like hesitant to try to even reach out to him, because I'm like, this guy he's big time, and this is such trivial, useless online beef bullshit. He's not going to care about this kind of thing. But I reached out to, what did I do? How did I get in touch with him? I don't remember. I think it was through that Park Place. I think I reached out to that Park Place first, and they got me in touch with them. And from there, they kind of gave the verbal handshake, like, hey, Smash is good people. We trust him. We love him. We know he's a hard worker, and he tries his best to stand on a good moral ground. And Ron's down for that kind of stuff. So it wasn't Marvin. Marvin wasn't there back then, I don't think. It was, I don't remember. I don't want to say names because I don't want to mess up who it was, but I believe it was that Park Place initially. And that Park Place has been so amazing to the channel. Like, they donated to the lawsuit fund a tremendous amount of money. Like, I think it was like $500, might have been even more. I don't, like, it was crazy. When I came in, I was like, whoa, like, damn. They've had me on their streams, WDW Pro, amazing guy. So many good experiences from dealing with them. I talk to Marvin all the time now. Marvin's a great dude too. And I have nothing but respect for that Park Place. And that being said, like they reached out to Ron, got me in touch with them. As far as I remember, I mean, it's been, God, we're going on 5 months away from this point. And yeah, ever since then, the rest is history as far as me and Ron working together. And I had a phone call with him the other day to talk about this very situation. And while I need to limit what I can say to you guys here, I can tell you that he was very reassuring. He gave me a lot of confidence and let me know what to understand what our next moves were. And you guys need to understand that I can't say what we're thinking because they're always watching. So hi, other side. I know you're watching right now. And we are very confident in what we're thinking of doing moving forward with this. And I will say, I don't want to speak for Ron, but I will say I am very confident personally in my standpoint that Alyssa really should think about dropping this. And that's like out of the kindness of my own heart. I'm saying that it's not out of concern for myself. that's me being honest. This is one of those situations where I'm not afraid to pursue the full extent of the law in my favor, whatever it takes, if this continues. So, no, I know, Dasco. I know. You say do not be kind. I know. I'm just saying, kind might not be the right word. Maybe fair, even though I wasn't granted that same level of compassion. Anyways, so Alyssa, in my opinion, it would be in her best interest to drop this. Anyways, she clearly is not going to, which is fine, but I don't think that's the smart move, but it is what it is. I think what it comes down to, and I said this on Saturday Night Hypnosis, I don't think she knows how to take a loss. Like, this would be the ultimate L with what she did and pushed forward and continued to push forward on me and then doxed my legal address with my wife and kids where we live while redacting her own was a clear act of violence, like direct attack on my family. And I don't take that very lightly at all. So with that being said, the letter continued where Ron included these other tweets, which there are many more, as those of you who have been following the situation would know. And then he finished it with, defendant submits that in light of the Twitter X post shown above, plaintiff cannot meet this burden, that each and every claim for relief in the complaint suffers from comparable deficiencies, that plaintiffs do not have a plausible path to amending the complaint, and that New York's anti-SLAPP law entitles defendant to relief, including attorney's fees and costs, which I can't speak too much on right now, but refer to my previous statement on what I plan to do with this case and push it as far as I absolutely legally can. I'm a nice guy. I'm a really, really kind, compassionate person. You guys who have been watching the channel for a while would know that. But I'd like to think a lot of you can probably empathize with my perspective when I say, don't fuck with me.